When you are looking at relocating to Greenville, South Carolina, you are looking at 3 distinct areas with 3 distinct lifestyles. Those areas are the Taylor's Greer area, the Greenville West Side area, and then you have the South Side of Greenville, which is what we are talking about today. Let's start with the pros and cons of this area specifically. Plus, I'm going to tell you the number 1 reason why everyone's landing on the south side of Greenville. If this is the area that you are looking in and this is piquing your interest, there's this fun QR code that's right over here on the screen. You need to stop, scan the QR code, and ask our team all the questions that you have about the area. We would love to help. We do lots of pros and cons. The first pro of this area that everyone I speak to about this triangle area is the access to 385. Being on the interstate or close to the interstate means that you can get places quickly. You're not as cut off from some of the things to do. This area, the way it's situated, around the interstate, you also have very easy access to shopping. That to me is a big deal because I don't want to be super far away from a grocery store. I want to be able to go to my Barnes and Noble or Hobby Lobby, Trader Joe's. You need to be able to find your Costco. And that is all along Woodruff Road. And you're not too far away from Woodruff Road in this area. There's also just a mass amount of things to do here. So you've got Bridgeway Station in Mauldin. You have the soccer stadium that is coming soon and has been started right there next to Bridgeway Station. One of the neat things that I'm just going to hit straight off the top here is the cost of living, or at least housing prices. You're going to be able to get a little bit more bang for your buck in this area just because of where it is and how it's situated. More house, lower price. I think that is a win-win for many, many people. That's a big reason why so many boxes get checked in this region, the south side of Greenville, and that's why a lot of people end up looking down here. Because there are so many different things to do here, that also means that you will be able to find a job here, whether it's at the hospitals, whether it's a restaurant, or maybe it's something where you're looking at industry and manufacturing. Because of the access to the interstate, you are so close to so many different things and being able to get a good job whenever you move here. Let's talk about those things that maybe, steer people away from this area. Let's be real. When there's an area that is growing a lot, the more people you put into an area, the heavier traffic gets. And that's one thing in this Simpsonville, Five Forks, Mauldin, Fountain Inn area. There are specific roads that aren't great, aren't fun to get stuck on. Now, I know that you guys that are watching from some of our bigger cities that are relocating here, our traffic is nothing compared to yours. But when you're not used to sitting in bumper to bumper 15 to 30 minute traffic, that's what happens in this area. And it doesn't happen everywhere and it doesn't happen all the time. If you don't want to get stuck in anything, maybe looking a little bit further out will be a good thing instead of looking specifically in this region. Speaking of traffic, one of those areas that is constantly overrun with traffic is Woodruff Road. And we've talked about Woodruff Road in other videos. We've even shown you Woodruff Road and some of the traffic. I think the comments on this video were hilarious because our traffic is not bad at all. Now, I would say during the holidays, it gets pretty bad because you are over here and there is so many things to do and there are so many shopping places, you're going to run into it. So you've been warned. If you're coming to the area and you need more specialized healthcare, there is a hospital system in the Simpsonville area. If it's something that you need more of a specialist, for that, you are going to have to drive into Greenville. That is where those offices are. Again, you're not terribly far away from anything here in the Mauldin, Simpsonville area, but it is something you're going to want to be aware of. And because of all of this growth, I know I just said that you can get more bang for your buck on housing. At the same time here, though, you are going to see some rising housing costs, especially amongst the new construction neighborhoods here in the area. Here's my little tag. Again, don't go to new construction without a realtor, because here's why. Right now in the market of 2026, we are negotiating prices. If you go to a builder, you probably won't negotiate very much, but if you could get $20,000, $30,000 off the price, wouldn't it be worth a conversation with us? I think so. So make sure that you're talking to our team. We would love to help you out there. It's just one of the cons of the area that we are seeing housing prices continue to rise. And it's mostly because of all of the new construction in the area. So this Southside region that we are looking at isn't really in the middle of anything, meaning you're kind of at the outskirts of what we consider Greenville County. You will go Mauldin, Simpsonville, and then get to Fountain Inn, which is a wonderful and thriving area, small town. But once you go past Fountain Inn, there's just nothing there, and you're in Lawrence County. Now, nothing there, of course. There is plenty there. The towns get much smaller, and instead of 15 minutes to a grocery store, you're 30 minutes to a grocery store. All things that we take into account whenever we are deciding where you ultimately want to land. One thing that I do is we pull up maps all the time. So we're going to pull up the maps. The city limits are insane. You look at Mauldin, Simpsonville, Fountain Inn. Their city lines look like somebody just splat on a map and said, let's do this. They're not straight lines. It's this little area is annexed and that little area is annexed, but they're pretty small. However, let's take Simpsonville, for example. Simpsonville is large and not all of it is within a city limit. So you have a Simpsonville address and you live way over here on the east side, and then you have something you need to go to on the west side of Simpsonville. It's going to take you about 30 minutes. Don't you think emergency services are going to have to take that much time as well? Outside of city limits, you end up having to rely upon county services. In this particular region, it is Greenville County, and they will get to you as quickly as possible. And if that is something that is very important to you, having emergency services that are quickly available, not 15 to 30 minutes, more like 5 to 10 minutes, you may want to look at a city limit of Mauldin or Simpsonville or Fountain Inn. Obviously, that's something that we can help you with, because some neighborhoods are city limits and then the very next neighborhood over is just in the county. So reach out to us. We would love to make sure that we run that search appropriately. All right, so let's start with Mauldin. Mauldin is like Greenville sprawl, just with a different name. It's almost 29,000 people that live in Mauldin. Now, something you need to know specifically, people who have a Mauldin address are very few and far between. Mauldin actually is really small. However, you can be in Mauldin and have a Greenville address or have a Simpsonville address. It gets a little confusing, but overall, Mauldin is located closest to places like Woodruff Road, downtown Greenville, etc. So you're going to be a lot closer to your things to do, to your shopping. It's also more established, and they are actively growing this area, such as Bridgeway Station and the soccer stadium. It's kind of like they're growing their own little downtown, because before Bridgeway and before deciding to put in the soccer stadium, they didn't have one. Because Bridgeway was built as downtown scene for Mauldin, that is where you are going to find the restaurant scene, the things to do, the entertainment. It's all going to be right there at Bridgeway Station. And I can tell you personally, the food is really good. Many of those restaurants are fantastic, and it's easy to get to. It's free parking. There are also community events that show up here at Bridgeway Station. For example, one that comes to mind is Cars and Coffee. That is a big deal in the area. So for you car people, go check it out. You also have parks. Honesty is in Mauldin. Even though I think Conesty technically has a Greenville address, it gets you outside and you're not far away from anything. There's good neighborhoods in the area. I think it's a great place for people that don't want to be farther out, say like in the other areas we're going to talk about. Schools in this area can be a little hit or miss, just depending upon what you're looking for. Do your own research. Go to greatschools.org. It is a fantastic resource. And little insider tip here, mom groups on Facebook are like the mafia. So if you are looking at schools, go join Mauldin residents, Simpsonville residents, Greenville residents, moms of Greenville, moms of Simpsonville. And if you are a dad, just tell your wife that that's what you're doing and you're pretending to be her. So that's how you're going to find out the most about schools that is not specifically watered down from just what a website says and data. That's how I figured out what schools my kids went to. So let's be real here. Mauldin is close to all of the major connections of places that you would want to get to around the upstate because of its proximity right there on the interstate. All right, so let's move on to Simpsonville. And I feel like a lot of you that are looking tend to land on Simpsonville because it feels more like a true suburb of Greenville. It's got its own little downtown. It has its own shopping district. So when you're looking at Simpsonville, you're going to find your new construction neighborhoods. Guys, they're everywhere. But you're also going to find your more established neighborhoods. And in this particular city, housing will be a little bit more on the higher side because of location, because of the amenities, because of the things to do. It just ends up being a little bit more expensive than, say, if you went 10 minutes down the road to Fountain Inn or you found an older area of Mauldin. You have gated communities, you have the big HOAs. Now, we've done so many different videos and comments about the Simpsonville area. One of my favorites is actually when we were able to interview Simpsonville's mayor on one of our live shows, which, if you didn't know, we do every Thursday night at 8 o'clock. And we were able to interview the Simpsonville mayor, where we talked about roads and we talked about infrastructure and we talked about what happens when the area starts to grow at such a rate that people start getting concerned about how fast it's growing. So go take a look at that. Great information. All in all, Simpsonville has a lot of the things that check off boxes. It's a really great area and you should take a look at it. Next, let's talk about Fountain Inn. Fountain Inn is really its own small town with its own identity. I think Fountain Inn is one of the hidden gems, really is on its way to be very similar to what Traveler's Rest is today, which if you're interested in Traveler's Rest, go watch a video about TR. We would love to have you research that, but Fountain Inn is not far behind because this is where the Swamp Rabbit Trail is eventually going to connect up. It already has part of the Swamp Rabbit out here in the town. There's also a cute downtown, very nice little main street with the coffee shops, the barber shops, restaurants. They also have festivals that happen throughout the year. They have their own small farmers market. It is a neat place where I think when you're looking at living in a particular area and maybe you look at Simpsonville and you're like, maybe it's too expensive. Drive 10 minutes further and you are in Fountain Inn for what you can buy, the cost of living, housing. It's just more affordable. That is one of the things about Fountain Inn that I think is just highly underrated. The amount of development that's happening in the area and how much Fountain Inn is actually growing. So I hope you've been able to see you can get in each specific area. I guarantee you it is not a Bermuda Triangle of death. Like, you're not going to just get stuck there. But in this area, it is kind of the Goldilocks area. So reach out to our team because we would love to help out and show you why this area really is so great and be the boots on the ground for you and be able to help you accomplish a goal of moving here. So scan the QR code. But I know that you're waiting for one more thing here. Why does everyone show up here in the south side of Greenville? Well, they show up because the community is established. It is safe. It is well thought out, and it is continuing to grow. People want to be close to the things that they do in their everyday life. And that's what Mauldin, Simpsonville, and Fountain Inn truly provide. And this is really a Goldilocks zone and not a Bermuda Triangle. If you want to look more into this area and see what housing looks like, go watch this video.